All right, everyone, welcome. I am just going to do this in one take. Going to give an update on where I'm at and what I'm doing. Hopefully the audio sounds good. So I am just outside of Alba, Italy. This is northwest Italy, sort of in the Turin area of what we call Piedmont. And I'm here for the next 3 weeks alone. My travels will continue for about a week and a half after, but for 3 weeks, really 20 days, I'm here. And the first stint of it is here. You can't see now, but I am inside of a Barolo barrel, giant barrel that they age a specific wine from a specific region that we'll be talking a lot about. But that's not the point of this. I want to do a travel recap. It is a Tuesday night. Actually, here it's 8:34. Normally I would be at Brick's Wine Bar, but I am officially 4,800 miles from there. And to get here, I took 3 planes, 2 trains, 1 taxi that didn't speak any English, and a rental car. And here I am. I'll do a little travel recap. So this started, I booked this trip. I started booking it a couple months ago. My cousin's getting married in Ireland, and turns out it's the same price to fly to Europe for a day or for a month. The flight is just as expensive, so I decided I was going to stay for a while, do some professional development, have some fun, meet some people, and started planning this trip. And I knew I had about a month to play with. And so I started thinking, 2 days here, 3 days here. And I started stressing myself out by planning it. And I had thought, I'm not going to get anything really out of spending, 2 days in Venice, 2 days in Florence, 2 days in Piedmont. So I decided to pick a wine region, really anywhere in Europe, and go there and stay there. And I settled on here, Piedmont, as we say. It's one of my favorite wine regions. It's one of the most diverse wine regions in the world. You have everything from powerful Barolo being produced next to light and effervescent Moscato, right? So that has always endlessly interested me, and the wines, admittedly, are very much in my palate. Older world, intense, powerful, rustic. And so I decided I wanted to go to Piedmont and started planning. I booked the flight about a couple months ago. I was like, perfect. I'm going to leave on the 15th of June, which means I'm going to land in Piedmont on today, the 16th of June. And wrote that down in my planner, started making accommodations, book a rental car, and this is Saturday night, so this would be the 13th. Right before I go to work, I get an email from Delta, and it says, check into your flight. And I was like, that's strange, checking into your flight 48 hours early, but I've never flown international. I've actually never even been to Europe before. So I thought, maybe that's normal. So I go to check in, and it says, confirming your flight on June 14th, Sunday. And I said, Sunday? That's my day I have to pack. I'm leaving Monday. So I jump on the call with the Delta guy, and he's like basically begging me not to change my flight. He's like, you won't make it. You're going to show up days late. It's going to cost about, $1,200 or something. And so I said, screw it. We're going to Italy in 24 hours. So my flight was Sioux Falls to Minneapolis, Minneapolis to Amsterdam, Amsterdam to Milan. And then I had booked a train ticket to Turin, which is the nearest big city to where I am now. And from Turin, I have a rental car for 20 days or 18 days or something. And so with the realization that I'm actually going a day earlier than I thought, I worked my full shift, stayed late, got off, threw a bunch of stuff in a bag, packed a bunch of camera gear, and that's it. Went to bed, woke up, went to the airport, And here I am. I'll get into some of the nitty-gritty travel stuff. I guess this is sort of a podcast of sorts, but so roll up to Sioux Falls Airport. Love Sioux Falls. No line for security, no issues. Jump on the plane, 40-minute flight to Minneapolis. All of my flights were really tight, and that's going to be a theme on this trip, is missing or almost missing travel accommodations. Go to Minneapolis, kind of run around the airport, getting to the international wing, which again, I've never flown international. Well, only once before I flew international to China for 3 weeks. That's a video for another day. So I get on my plane, all right, big old plane, got extra leg room, sit down, and I realize, we're supposed to be taking off and we don't take off, and they call overhead and say, someone's having a medical emergency, so we're delayed. Well, it turned out some guy was way too drunk, and as soon as he sat down, he threw up all over himself and potentially the people sitting next to him, which is disgusting. Luckily, I was far enough away that it didn't directly impact me. However, it did delay our flight an hour on the tarmac. So that turned my hour-and-a-half layover in Amsterdam into a 20-ish minute layover. But it's an 8-hour flight. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to worry about that in 8 hours. So I put on my sleep mask, put my pillow on, pass out for like 6 hours. Great sleep, honestly. Wake up, we're landing, and have a little breakfast. And we land at our hour and 10-minute late time, which means I have no time. I'm in a new country, never been to Europe before. I'm in a new continent. And so I just grab my bags, big backpack, little backpack, run, hauling through the Amsterdam airport. I don't know what anything means. I don't know what anyone's saying. All I know is I need to get to G. Luckily, the alphabet is the same in Amsterdam. And I run like crazy. I'm like texting people, there's no way I'm making this flight. I'm going to have to find another flight. And literally as they're closing the door, again, another theme, scan in, they let me go. I'm the last person on the flight. Take off, easy flight, hour and 40 minutes, super nice people, and land in Milan. So luckily I had the forethought to have an eSIM ready for me when I got there, because I knew I was going to be in a new country, new continent, and I wouldn't know any of the words. I don't speak any Italian, even though I pretend to. And so I roll out of the airport down into the basement where the train is, and I know, okay, I booked a cheap private hostel stay in Milan, so I just got to take the train to this train spot, and then leave and find this bus station, and then that will take me close enough to the hostel. But it's not a problem because I have my eSIM. I get on the train, boom. As soon as we leave the station, I lose Wi-Fi, and my eSIM isn't working. So I have no idea where I'm going or what I'm doing. Luckily, I took a screenshot of where I was supposed to get off. So I jump off the train at that station, and I come above ground, and I'm welcome to Italy. And I'm in like maybe not a great part of Milan. I wasn't there long enough to really know, but no Wi-Fi anywhere. No one spoke a lot of English. And so I was just on my own. And I'm wearing a sport coat, pants, because I didn't want to pack my sport coat, so I just wore it. I've got backpack over my back. I've got another one kind of over my side. And I've got a bottle of water, and that's it. And it's like 92 degrees. And so luckily my phone, even though it wasn't working, I had the map pulled up still, so I could see the pin where my hotel was supposed to be, or my hostel. And so I tried asking, bus, Inglés, nothing. Just not feeling great about that. And so my only option was to just start walking. So I'm wearing loafers and my jacket. Again, it's 92 degrees. And so I start hoofing it, and I walk well over 2 miles. And that bottle of water, I drank that up in the first 15 minutes. And I'm not walking on a scenic route in Milan. I'm walking on these back roads, one lane, cars whizzing by, no sidewalk. Italy's very walkable, but not that part of Milan. And there's like high fences on either side of me separating a jungle to my right, and then either an industrial plant or almost like sort of like favela looking, interesting, we'll say, housing accommodations. So I'm kind of walking as fast as I can, and there are cars going by, and there's mopeds, and I'm like, wow, we really are in Italy. And so I walked these terrible roads for probably 35 minutes. And all of a sudden I see a highway kind of going over, and I'm like, thank goodness. Never been so excited to see a sidewalk, jump on the sidewalk. At that point I was maybe a half mile or a kilometer, as they say, away from my hostel. But I am a mess. I'm dripping sweat. I'm soaked through. And eventually I make my way to the hostel, and this is about noon. And I go up to the front desk, and I'm not supposed to check in until 3 o'clock. And the look on the man's face, it was like he saw a dead man walking, basically. Sport coat soaking wet, sweat down my face, backpacks on. And I'm like, hi, ciao. And what I meant to ask is if I could leave my bags there and then go and eat something, because I hadn't eaten like all day. And what he said to me was, are you checking in? And I said, well, I would like to. And he said, let me see what we can do. And so he went in the back, and he's like, we've got a room for you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. So take my bags up, shower, change, put my clothes in a biohazard bag, essentially. And then I set off in Milan. First thing I did was I got some pizza, just very stereotypical. It was good, but the real reason was because it was the next stop over from my hostel, and I don't think I could have made it down the street without eating. So I got 2 bottles of water, 1-piece pizza, kind of got juice back up. Found an American guy who was backpacking Europe, talked to him about the metro situation, about my phone. He helped me get my phone figured out, connect the eSIM. And then I set off for the metro, and I knew I wanted to go see Il Duomo a Milano, the Cathedral of Milan. I'd learned about it in art history, and I kind of figured that's where a lot of people would be. So jump on the public transport, shoot down there, come up, amazing view. And there's this mall next door. Actually, I have a visual aid. I have a visual aid here. I bought a postcard so I could remember. Okay, so here we have Il Duomo, if it'll focus. Il Duomo. Il Duomo. And right adjacent to it is this thing. Magnificent. It's an old shopping mall that they have maintained and kept up, and it's like the home to some luxury brands. And actually, I'm just looking for a bar at this point because I need a cocktail. I know I'm here for wine, but you gotta know cocktails too. And so I look and I see a bunch of Campari. So I go into this bar, and it's this amazing standing bar. One thing in Italy is that there's a lot of standing around. Stand around with an espresso, stand around with a cocktail. It's really beautiful, actually, super fun. So I walk into this bar, tall ceilings, like 1920s-esque. Really, the art is earlier than that, like Art Nouveau, tile, mosaics on the wall, stunning. I'm going to do a separate video about that on my Instagram, so check that out. But basically what this bar is I think I need to read up on it more, but I'm pretty sure it's the guy who, or the family that created Campari as we know it today. And this is their bar, and it's been there for 160 years, and it's been restored fully or maintained. And it's the birthplace of the Campari soda, Campari Seltz, as they say, Italia. And so I was like, well, this is what I'm doing. So I get a Campari soda, I have a delicious appetizer. Really, really great experience. I mean, it was borderline emotional after the day that I'd had. And then I Googled, what else should I see? And so then I went and walked down to some of the kind of like luxury shopping areas, to see the brands and stuff. I think it's cool. They were all closed, but I'm kind of like peering through the window of Rolex, knocking on the window. They didn't answer. So eventually found an ATM with a decent transaction rate. Got some euros. I'll do a separate video on euros. I freaking love coins. And when's the last time you paid for a cocktail? Just throw a couple coins up on the bar. Anyways, I digress. And then I look up wine bar because I'm like, I gotta have a glass of wine. And so I find this wine bar, and everything is like a metro ride away in Milan, which is amazing once you get there, or have access to a cell phone, I suppose. But so I take this metro to this wine bar, which I'll do a separate video for. But it's in an old monastery, and it's super hip, super cool, modern. Like you walk in, there's people on the patio, everyone's smoking cigarettes and drinking wine, and everyone's young, which is great. It's also great if you're not young, but part of why I want to be on this trip is to bring this information to the youth, to people in my generation. But anyways, we'll do a separate video on that too. Stay tuned, lots of content coming. So, walk into this wine bar in a monastery, and I tell the guys working behind the bar, I work in wine, can I take some videos? They're like, please, whatever, go downstairs. And so I'm like, oh, there's a downstairs. I go downstairs, and there's a taxidermied rhino above the stairs, which is gangster. And you walk down into this cellar, barrel vaulted ceilings, wine. I mean, you're greeted by a champagne fridge labeled Krug, which is a great way to be greeted. And so sit down on the left. There's Italian meat hanging from the ceiling, and I'm like, this is heaven for me. And bottles lined all along the walls, so they're retail as well as they have a wine list and a cocktail bar, everything you need. And so I sit down and I order charcuterie for two, and I ate the whole plate, a huge plate of like rare fine meats. And I had a glass of Franciacorta, which was a pretty good pairing. The meats were kind of fatty, so kind of cleanse the palate. And I talked to a couple Americans that were there, which was interesting. Kind of just took in the sights. And then I left, went back to the hostel, fell asleep. And that's the end of day one. A very tumultuous journey, full of trials and tribulations and success and failures. But it ends here. I made it. I've survived so far. But that was my first 24 hours in Italy. I think I'm going to do a separate video, maybe each day, about 24 hours. But this is episode 1, recap of the first 24 hours. Italia, in Europe, for the first time, cheesy Midwest wine guy. But that's all I've got for episode 1. Stay tuned for much more to come. I'm going to go take a shower.